All right, so this is the lesson for multiplying binomials 3. Y'all have already done the first two parts of this lesson. This third part is not much of a continuation from what you've already done. So you should actually attempt the handout first. Okay, there are two handouts to this lesson. There's one that you're going to do first that's going to help you walk through the lesson by yourself. And then there's a handout after the lesson to finalize those skills. So you should try the handout now. If you are confused by the handout or you would rather just do the lesson first, that's fine too. So let's move on. So these are the first binomial multiplication pairs that we're looking at. In the first question, you're asked to talk about their similarities and their differences. So I went ahead and wrote those for us. The similarities are that both terms in each one are the same. So in this first one, we have x and positive 3 and positive 3. Now, the only difference is between the two, one of the binomials has addition and one has subtraction. So if you go through all four, you're going to see this pattern in all of them. So we have A and positive 6 and positive 6, but here we have subtraction and here we have addition. And it's like that in all four of them. Okay? So we're just going to look at the first two just to save time. Here's the first one. So if we FOIL that first one, so x times x, we get x squared. X times negative 3, we get negative 3x. X times 3, we get positive 3x. And then 3 times negative 3, we get negative 9. Now, once we simplify and combine like terms, we're going to get a 0x term in the middle. And then that disappears. And we're left with just x squared minus 9. Okay? Now, if we do this for the next one, we do the FOIL, we get all of our four terms, and then we combine, we get another 0a term. And that simplifies to a squared minus 36, okay? So we're at the point now where we can start to see a pattern emerging. So what are the similarities of these results? Both original terms are squared separated by subtraction. So let's see what that means. Quickly. So we had an x term and a 3, right? Like we said, they're both positive. X squared is x squared, and then 3 squared is 9. Okay, so the result is just the original first two terms, and each of those terms are squared and then separated by subtraction. We're going to talk about this pattern more in just a minute. So when two binomials that have the same two terms, one separated by addition and the other separated by subtraction, are multiplied together, the product is a binomial whose two terms are the original two terms squared separated by subtraction. Now, I know that's kind of a wordy explanation of what's going on, but it will become clear on the next page. So let's go back to our first multiplying binomial. And again, I did the FOIL out, but I also did a new method next to it. So like we said, when we do the FOIL, we get four terms. Oh, I'm sorry, this isn't the same binomial. These are two binomials I created. But we get x squared minus x plus x minus 1. And when we simplify that, we're going to get x squared plus 0x minus 1. And that simplifies to just x squared minus 1. So those two middle terms simplified to 0 again, just like in the previous two examples. So since that happens every time when we have this kind of multiplication, when they're the same, just with different operations, we can skip the O and the I in FOIL, and we can just do the F and the L. So this new method, the whole point of this lesson is to learn this new shortcut called the FL method, okay? So instead of doing the O and the I, we just skip them because we know that they're going to cancel out to 0. So we can just save some time and just do F, x times x, and L, -1 times +1. And then we get x squared minus 1, which is the same answer we would have gotten if we had done it this way. Now, this is a shortcut. So if this lesson is confusing, if the shortcut is too much extra stuff to remember, just do the original FOIL method. There's no reason not to do the FOIL method. It just requires you to simplify. So there's extra steps, but extra steps sometimes help you be extra clear. All right. And now finally, just some final notes. I want to talk about how x squared minus 1, sometimes we're going to refer to it as a hidden trinomial. What does that mean? So we kept talking about how the O and the I disappear because -x plus x equals 0x. 0 times x is nothing. So that 0x term is kind of like a hidden third term. So even though this is a binomial, we can think of it as a hidden trinomial because usually when we multiply two binomials together, the product is a trinomial. So even though this is only a binomial, we can think of it as a hidden trinomial. All right, and finally, when you see two identical binomials, go away, sorry, with different operations being multiplied together, you can use the FL method instead of the FOIL method because the middle two terms, the O and the L, will cancel out every time. So we've reached the end of this lesson. So if you haven't done the first part of the handout, go through that now, and then after that, move on to the second handout. Like I said, the whole point of this lesson is to learn the FL method. So you should be using the FL method on the second handout. If the FL method is too confusing and you would rather just use the original FOIL method, you can do the FOIL method for every single problem on the handout. But again, it might just take you a little longer. There might be more work, but if that's your prerogative, that's fine. The next lesson will be 10%. We're going to be learning a new benchmark, and that will be uploaded separately.